Hello Capricorn gang, welcome to my channel, Tarot by the Intuitive Teacup. We're going to read your tarot cards here today. This will be a general message for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Please come into it with an open heart, an open mind, and a desire to learn something or better yourself. If the messages that come through don't resonate, feel free to push them aside or revisit them at a later date. Sometimes the messages will make sense in the future. You got cards popping already. All right, let's do it for Capricorn. Messages this week. It looks like an offer was made to you, but you either are second guessing it or you double back on it. Like it's like you may have agreed to move forward with something and then you're like, ooh, I feel like I'm in too deep or I'm in too thick, or maybe I overestimated how much I could take in, how much I could participate in whatever this is, something that you're maybe building or working towards. Because with the Knight of Pentacles, even though it is a knight, you know, it's not a queen or a king, it is Virgo energy. So there's a very high, I'm hearing the word aptitude, high skill set, high skill level involved in this. It might be something that you find yourself wanting to perfect or make a better use of. With that, you might be being tremendously hard on yourself or putting a lot of pressure on yourself to deliver it in perfect condition. So if that's the case for some of you, I'm wanting to say, allow this to adapt as you go. Allow this to, like, it's almost like allowing yourself to go out and get the information and then fine tune it and tweak it as you go. It might not be that you can deliver it all in one bundle as, you know, the perfect shiny gold token, because, you know, the Knights are still learning and growing. They're more than a page, so they're more than a student. They've upped their skill in that way, but there is something changeable about the Knights, right? They're mutable signs, so they're adaptable. They can adjust to things. They're open to new ideas. So I guess that might just be a message if you're very stuck in doing something a specific way, if you have maybe some fixed energy, maybe, you know, something in Aquarius or Scorpio or Taurus, you know, whatever. Leo's the other fixed sign. It might be saying that this is a good opportunity, but you do need to allow it to adapt and to change a little bit. Others of you, it seems like an offer was made. It could be a romantic offer, a date. It could be a job offer where I'm almost getting you changed your mind. There's something changeable about this. The Five of Swords, I believe, is a Venus card, which ironically doesn't feel very kind of soft and fuzzy the way Venus is. But Venus, like any planet, has a lot of connotations. You know, in a high vibe, it's linking, it's connecting, it's relating, it's harmonizing. Here there isn't harmony, though, because first of all, it's an awkward number, right? It's a 5. A lot of times we say this is the card of someone who's looking out for their best interest, you know, someone who will win at any cost. So then who is suffering? So this is someone who's, it could even be someone who's having someone else fight their battles for them. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but others of you may have said something and then went back on your word, or you're grappling with that decision. You may have agreed to lend someone money, but then in hindsight, you were like, ooh, I actually can. And so it's almost like if that is the case, really think through how you want to go about breaking the news. I'm not saying you shouldn't go back on your word, or maybe not your word. You may have just changed your mind. However, with that, there's an added layer of awkwardness of someone's feelings being hurt or someone feeling rejected or slighted. It's not just a simple, oh, I'm sorry, I can't lend you money. Because, I mean, that's life, right? If this person asked, they had to be prepared that the answer may have been no. It's more complicated than that because, again, there's like a looking over your shoulder of what was already done and wishing you could change it and do it differently. So the fix to this, right, if we move away from the Five of Swords to the Six of Swords, the Six of Swords is a positive card. Sixes are a sign of victory, but they're Mercury in Aquarius. So again, that strong kind of fixity of thought, of mind. Mercury, again, is very indicative of what this Knight of Pentacles brings with it, that changeable, adaptable mutability. So Six of Swords is Mercury in Aquarius. So in order to fix this, you have to at least communicate. You need to have the conversation. And it might just be that you're dreading the conversation or not wanting to bring back up what is already a sore topic. You should anyway, because ultimately what this situation needs is communication and progress. That's what the Knight of Pentacles says. I think you might be over-anticipating or overestimating sort of the drama that this could cause. I actually think there's going to be a few feathers ruffled. There's going to be a few, waves stirred up, but ultimately I think you're going to move past it. And it's almost like, you need to, you're just kind of in that in-between of, oh, how do I have this conversation? Stick to your guns, do what you know is true in your heart. Just with this, well, actually, before I was going to say consider how it's going to land with the other person, but more or less, I'm not even sure that's your responsibility at this point. As long as you're doing this with a clear conscience, you're doing what you believe is good for everyone. Maybe that's where the Venus part comes in, right? It's It's an agreement. It's something mutually beneficial, or as much as it can be in this situation. Maybe the situation is a little bit awkward, and not every person, not every team member is going to feel like they're getting their wish. But again, so is life. For some reason, I don't know, you seem to be making the executive decision. You may be caught in between other people fighting too, Capricorn. I could see that as well. So you might be the person trying to bring harmony and peace. Like, can't we all just get along and bridge the gap? And that's interesting that the Libra energy is coming through, because Libra is, in a sense, the pacifist, right? It will go to great strides to avoid conflict. That's why, it's the scales. It makes decisions out of balance and justice, right? The scales of justice. But also weighing out the decisions, making the pros and cons list, needing to make sure it's well informed as it makes the decision. I sort of get the idea that this is a slippery slope. It's a tricky situation, because ultimately I feel like one person in this argument or this disagreement isn't going to be the happiest, but ultimately you shouldn't avoid it because of that reason, Maybe next time things will sway in their favor, but ultimately it's like, I don't know, you're being called in to sort of either bridge the gap or bring balance or reconciliation to something that it's out of whack. And it may just have to do with an argument too, like words that were very sharp. What is sort of the foundation of what this argument was? I mean, if it's your story, you're already gonna know. I feel like I called you Libra earlier. It's because you had that Venus energy here. Sorry if I did. Capricorn, sorry. And maybe I didn't, I'm not sure. You may find yourself wandering into some sort of like hot conflict or hot situation, and I don't mean that in like the sexy sense. I mean, you may be like the new person at a job and you realize the management is always fighting or feuding, and it's almost like this metaphor of, oh man, I wish mom and dad could just like get along. And for some of you, it might be literal. It could be that your parents are fighting, especially if it does involve a Gemini. Anyway, what is the base of this argument? Why are these people at odds? Why aren't they coming together? The universe is like not wanting to tell me. One card, what is the basis of this argument? Why are these people at odds? Ay. All right, I'm gonna ask one more time. Why are these, okay, there's a couple cards coming through. I was gonna say, it's complicated, isn't it? Every time I tried to pull one card, I felt like three come out. So there's hurt feelings, there's a sense of what has been lost can never be gotten back. This is a Mars and Scorpio card, so it does indicate, people are fighting. People are feeling like those around them are acting out of selfishness or being, aggressive or assertive. But in reality, there is sort of a reflection here of, but this person or these people did participate in it too. So in a sense, they may be closed off to seeing, the damage they did or what they brought to this argument, because it's a two-way street. It takes two to tango, as they say. So whoever or whatever is involved, unless you're purely just the mediator, everybody participated in this. And I mean, you are here. You are showing up. I have no doubt that this represents Capricorn because it is your reading. And look, this is so perfect. You are the one backing this decision. If that makes any sense. It could be that this could even have to do with, again, like this is such a Libra theme, something to do with injustice or inequality, something not going on where people feel shackled or people feel stuck, people are lacking freedom. And so, there could be some sort of revolt or rebellion on a very small level. And for some reason, you are a key player in deciding or initiating where we go from here. Wands always indicate action. This is the Two of Wands. Again, some Mars energy. So there's a lot of conflict behind this. I will say, whether you're making the decision or casting a vote in the ultimate decision making, make sure you're not operating out of fear, because there is a Mars energy and it can be quite assertive, ambitious, not in a bad way, but it can sort of overdo it in terms of its what is the word I'm looking for? It's very quick to act. It is impulsive. Thank you. Because it can act out of impulsivity. If you're making decisions from a blocked place, if you're not listening to your heart or considering what's good for everyone involved versus, oh, well, I'm above the rest, these people are below me. Even if that is true in terms of your status and hierarchy, I wouldn't look at it this way, because you're only as good as the people working under you. Or if it's equal playing field, and I mean, I think the Libra Venus energy here is saying it is, no one is really above the rest, that needs to be informing your decision on how to move forward. there shouldn't be this inequality or this status or this hierarchy. It's something about every voice needs to be heard. It doesn't mean they're going to get all their wishes and dreams out of this, but at least feeling like for some of you, it might just be listening to the grievances of the people, because it's going to help you make a very informed, equal decision. And that Mars energy, it's Scorpio season, right? Scorpio is ruled by Mars. That's its ancient ruler. Also ruled by Pluto. So, transformation is inevitable here, and I think there's something very positive that could come out of this. But that lower vibe of Mars, if it's acting out of fear or survival of the fittest or competition, it has that stinger, that kind of, if you guys know what the Mars symbol looks like, it looks sort of like the male symbol. Remember Austin Powers used to wear that little necklace, the male symbol? Anyway, I always think of that. It has that stinger, it has that point, it is very like phallic, right? So in a sense, it could be acting out of sort of immature aggression. There could even be some petty like office drama romance involved here. I'm not saying that's the case for all of you, but with these three cards, there may be a small element of, I'm not sure I would say romance, I would say passionate people, or again, something where there might be bias given to those who, I don't know how to say it, like a superficiality of, they get what they want because they dress a certain way or they look a certain way. I'm not saying that's the case for all of you, but with these three, someone may be acting more out of a lower vibrational, surface level idea. We have to remember Capricorn is all about the structure. We're only as good as the bones that serve the body, right? So if you are at all involved in making this decision, I would say take that into account. Again, I would not caution you. I would just simply make you aware. It's okay. Some people are going to be disappointed. They will get over that. And it's only your responsibility to deliver the news in a very clear, ethical, informed way. Other than that, focus on the good, what you can salvage from this, what you plan to do with the opportunity, with the rest, with who's left at the company, whatever this is. But ultimately, lingering on spilt milk, it's a waste of time and energy. And I think you already know this. I think you're trying to move beyond it. It's just like, for some reason, it's snowballing. It's getting trickier and trickier is what I get from this. All right, so that's one way to read it. So again, if you're waiting to hear back on a decision, there's something you're going to lose from this, but there's something to be gained here. So I'm going to read it from that perspective too. So if Capricorn is waiting on someone else to make a decision, some of you feel like this person is being persuaded by the wrong people. There could be an ex involved, or it could be a dynamic where you work with like a boss whose wife is also at the company, and you feel like, what's being whispered in the boss's ear is not for the best of everyone. I think you're questioning this person's loyalty because they may be loyal to something that is actually not not in the highest vibe. Do you understand what I mean? So if that's the case, what can I tell Capricorn? I mean, I can tell you more or less this is going to be the outcome. So the Five of Cups again is Mars and Scorpio. We're in Scorpio season. Mars says don't give up the fight though. Mars says sometimes you do have to I don't even know if Mars asks for what it wants. I think it tells you what it wants. And if you can't get it from the who or what you're seeking it from, maybe you go about it a different way. Maybe you ask for it from someone else, or again, I don't mean physically, but demand it or fight for it. Mars brings with it a tremendous sense of independence. In a very beautiful way, it doesn't conform. It doesn't really care too much about social graces. It cares about initiating action plans that are really going to make a difference. Mars is, Aries energy, so it wants to trailblaze. It wants to butt its head in. I would do that in a way where you're not stirring the pot even more. I'm sort of trying to balance this out, but I also think it's saying don't give up without a fight. What are you willing to sacrifice in order to get what you want? And for some of you, some shadow side came into it. You were willing to sacrifice, relationships with your coworkers, or possibly authenticity or truth, or it could swing into that. So do your best to be a fair leader, someone who keeps in mind the idea of justice. But yeah, this might be something that you end up going to the battlefield for. And I mean that metaphorically, of course. What is being lost here? What is something we might not get back from this opportunity? Again, in theory, please, if this isn't your story, it isn't your story. And at least if you become aware of the energies, maybe you can counteract them or go up against them, right? I'm not saying this is definitive, but what can no longer be a resort or a strategy is not using your voice. Being forced into a corner or forced into a prison where you don't have a vote or you don't have a say, or you're operating out of fear of rocking the boat. Again, very like Libra energy, like, oh, I'm going to be passive, or I'm going to hold my tongue just, out of social grace, out of diplomacy. We're beyond that. This has to move forward. So you do have some fives. There's going to be some stuff kind of dragged up, and I think it is for the better, even though when you go through the fives, they're a little bit uncomfortable. There might be some hurt feelings. This might be a struggle over lost resources if your company is doing layoffs or having to minimize pay or minimize hours. You may have been silent because you're like, oh, well, I don't want to lose my job. But at the same time, there's something here that it is unfair. It is unbalanced. So I think you're striking back with that very Mars energy. I'm sort of surprised we don't have the Ace of Swords. There's something very triumphant about the victory and going to battle. And not only that, using your words, right? It's not about physically hurting anyone, of course. I would never advocate that. But, it could even be through writing. The pen is mightier than the sword. You guys know that. It's having your voice heard one way or another. So really what we're losing here, it's actually a very positive message. Fear. Any type of fear that was holding you back or making you silence yourself or mute yourself. This is a Jupiter and Gemini card. So the idea of our thoughts running wild, but there's like too many thoughts and too many negative thoughts. They're pointed down. This pessimistic, it's never going to work out attitude. I'm binded here. I'm stuck here. I'm never going to move beyond that. Nope, that's what we're losing. We're losing that way of thinking. What we're gaining here, let's see. I would even say rallying the troops, getting people together to protest or form a, I don't know, it could be something with a union or a strike, or I hope this makes sense to someone. There are some rough seas ahead, but it doesn't mean you won't come out on the other side with a sense of victory and feeling proud of what you accomplished. Or you might be the trailblazer here. I almost see this as stepping up to the podium or the microphone. It could be a little bit political. I don't know. What do you think, Capricorn? What is this Two of Cups? Two of Cups is, we are building in a positive direction. This is a new blessing. This is a new opportunity. This is the brick in the pathway you're building. I love that it's coming through as earth energy, very earthy Capricorn. I love that. You're creating a better structure or more stability for yourself, because the way it is now, again, it's uneven with that 5. It's like it's awkward. It's not the best it could be. So we have to move forward and progress with something to make this better. I almost see this as a reward from the universe by facing your fear and moving forward with something that, you're a little hesitant, you're a little bit worried about. But again, when you go in for the right reasons, knowing, listen, I know in my heart that this isn't right, so I have to step up and say something. I have to demonstrate the way it could be, or be a voice to the people who've been undermined. I think the universe also throws another blessing your way, almost as a gift for facing your fear, or as a token of acknowledgement for what you're trying to accomplish here. I do like that it ends with the Ace of Pentacles. And again, there's something to do with collaboration or partnership here too. So even if initially it feels like you're going off on a limb on your own, know that there's other people who are going to find you. You're going to find your tribe of people who are going to back you up, people who are going to sort of lift you up and allow you to ascend and rise, possibly in the rankings, because you're fighting for the little guy. You're fighting for the people. All right, Capricorn, that's what I got for you this week. Please remember to like the video, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you very soon for more tarot. Bye, guys.